Hey, today, good morning, chapter 10, verses 14 through the end of the chapter, verse 21. And what I want you to listen to for a few things here is, I just want you to notice a couple things. Paul's going to make a point that God has, he's held out his hand to Israel, and they rebelled against him. It's important because Paul's kind of making the argument like, hey, God is absolutely fair. He's fair and he's just, and we all deserve his wrath, but he's long-suffering and patient toward us. The second thing I want you to notice in the text is the way the proclamation of the word works. And I want you to listen to where the breakdown in salvation kind of happens, if you will. Check this out. Verse 14, remember verse 13, context. Everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. Verse 14, our text for today. How then will they call on him in whom they've not believed? And how are they to believe in him in whom they've never heard? And how are they to hear without somebody proclaiming or preaching the word? And how are they to preach unless they're sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who preach the good news. But they've not all obeyed the gospel. For Isaiah says, Lord, who's believed what he has heard from us? So faith comes from hearing, and hearing through the word of Christ. But I ask, have they not heard? Indeed they have, because the voice has gone out to all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. But I ask, did Israel understand? First, Moses says, I'll make you jealous of those who are not a nation. With a foolish nation, I'll make you angry. And Isaiah so boldly says, I have not been found by those who did not seek me. I have shown myself to those who did not ask for me. But of Israel, he says, all day long I have held out my hand to a disobedient and contrary people. So, man, what a harsh rebuke. He's looking at Israel and he's saying, Israel, I've held out my hand to you and you've turned your back on me. And he goes on and he says about the Gentiles, I'm going to make Israel jealous of those people, like they're not even Jewish, but they've received Christ. And Israel should be jealous, right? Here's kind of what Paul is saying. He's saying, look, the Jews should look at the life that we have because God has bestowed his grace and riches on us. And they should say, wow, God is, man, I want that. That's what I want. That's what I'm looking for. It's what I'm longing for. And then at the beginning, check this out. Here's what the gospel proclamation looks like. It says, how will they believe if they've never heard? Right? Like, how are those people out there going to believe if they don't hear the gospel? And how are they to hear if someone's not telling them? And how are they to preach unless they're sent? And what I want you to get is, and then verse 17, so faith comes by hearing, and hearing through the word of Christ. What I want you to get is that there's a whole lot of people out there that don't know Jesus Christ, and they're never going to know Jesus Christ unless someone proclaims the gospel. And listen, I'm not in any way taking away from God's sovereignty. What I want you to see is that God sovereignly has said, church, I have given you the awesome, wonderful, praiseworthy responsibility of taking my gospel to your friends, your neighbors, your coworkers, to all of the valley of Albuquerque, to all of the ends of New Mexico, to the uttermost parts of the world. Will you take God's gospel there? So, question. First, do you understand that God is fair in offering the gospel? Do you see that God has been so long-suffering with Israel? Hey, how about this? How has God been long-suffering with you on your journey to the cross and to salvation? Second question, just as important. What are you doing? What am I doing with the gospel, with the word of Christ that I have? Am I going out there to share it with the people that I know, with my friends and with my coworkers? Am I doing whatever it takes to make sure that they all have an opportunity to receive Jesus Christ?